guys, what's up, Mustangs? Guy F14 back to Forza Horizon 3. And a little while ago, I did a wide body performance test to see if the wide body was worth it or not around a track. And that was on Blizzard Mountain and the mainland. Now, Hot Wheels expansion came out a little bit after that, very shortly after. And it has a different track environment. It's plastic. It's plastic track, which has a slightly different grip level. I was able to tell pretty early on that some of my best handling vehicles didn't quite have the handling I thought they would, so it's a little bit less grip because it's plastic. So I was interested to see what would happen with the wide body cars around the Hot Wheels track. Now, for the sake of equality when it comes to the wide bodies, I did have every vehicle run the Forza Aero on the rear because you are able to put the Forza Aero wing on the back of the car but not on the front. Because wide bodies give you the option to put the rear wing on when it comes to Forza Aero, but it removes the access to the front splitter in exchange for bigger tires. So all the vehicles you'll see will have the Forza Aero on the rear, and when they're not wide body, have Forza Aero all around. Now originally, my first vehicle that I used was a Silvia F14 Aero, because it has the most drastic change when it comes to tire sizes. This vehicle stock will get 265s, but with an upgrade will get you 295s, actually 305s, yeah 305s I believe. So it gets a massive boost in tire size. However, as I said, you don't get the front aero. And originally, I was going to build this up to whatever class the tires got in. Which in this case of the Silvia, A class. And I didn't fully realize, and these vehicles have the same power, the same weight, the same torque, the same upgrades, minus the aero parts. And the, they have the same upgrades, minus the wide body kit and the wide body kit allowance. For instance, the Silvia doesn't have a front aero here because the wide body kit. Same thing with the Hellcat, you'll see later on. And, well, these are rather handling-based vehicles because they have the racing tires and they have the aero parts. And that took up a lot of their PI, which means it has a whopping 233 horsepower. And that's not really enough for Hot Wheels. Sorry. Didn't really plan on that, so yeah, it's not a fast car around this track. It is rubbish around this track in A class. So, anyway, both vehicles, they all feel, when I'm driving this, they all feel pretty similar when it comes to driving. But my rule is, if it's more than 0.2 of a second, I would say that is a significant difference when it comes to lap time. And that would mean some other part, other than driver skill, is playing a part of it. Also, I would have a minor heart attack when I was driving with this, because that got very close to the edge. I don't know how I kept on the track, but I managed to. But yeah, not the most spectacular racing I've ever had. Now, the Silvia's times was out the wide body. It did a 207.962 around the circuit. And interestingly, with the wide body, it did a 209.363 around the circuit. Which means it's 2 seconds slower with the wide body kit. And I think I know why, because the way I built these vehicles in A class, they had the exact same power parts. However, the wide body kit for the Silvia adds 300 extra pounds to the car, which is a lot. Most wide body kits add 100, 200 max. This one added over 300 pounds, put the weight up to 2,900, which isn't much overall, but the normal Silvia, the non-wide body, was 2,600, and that ruins the power to weight ratio when it's the same. And when you need to keep up your momentum, speed is important. Turning is important. All that stuff is important, and when you have a slightly worse power weight ratio, that doesn't help. So, I think that vehicle is just a little bit underpowered for that. But, Yeah, so I would say it's the most accurate test I've ever done. But I did try to remedy it by bringing up the vehicles in S1 class that have more power and more handling. Now, the vehicle that I decided to go for an S1 class was the Dodge Challenger Hellcat. Because, well, with the racing tires, it gets up to halfway through S1 class. I lowered the weight, put a little bit more power on it, did a few things, but not really that much, and this was the vehicle that I decided was going to be our real benchmark, because the Silvia didn't turn out quite how I wanted it to. So, I decided to use the Challenger because it can get some 40 millimeters difference for the tires, which is not as big as the Silvia's, but pretty big. And as you'll notice, it's still rear-wheel drive. The Silvia was four-wheel drive. I had just left the four-wheel drive on from the snow course build, didn't bother to remove it, so I just made it the same for both vehicles. And the Dodge, well, is quite clearly the unwieldy beast of a muscle car that we all know and love from Dodge. And, yeah, so that would really test the grip difference between the two vehicles. This is the non-wide body version. And, yeah, as usual, you didn't really feel much of a difference besides the speed. I was still adjusting from the rather slow, barely 120 mile an hour speeds of the Silvia to the 212 mile an hour speeds of the Hellcat. So, yeah, quite a bit of a jump in performance. And that certainly took a little bit of getting used to, but I was able to get a clean lap time nonetheless. Now, this is quite clearly the wide body kit version of the Dodge Challenger Hellcat. And it's interesting because unlike the Silvia, which lost PI, lost 12 PI actually when I put the wide body kit on, this gained 6. Which means this Dodge is in S2 class, while the other Dodge is in S1 class, top of S1. They have the same power figures, they have the same torque, they have the same tire compounds, they have all the same stuff put on minus the tire sizes and the wide body kit. So, the wide body kit with the bigger tires meant that even though it was missing a front splitter, it was 6 PI. The game rated this car faster than the normal one. And again, I didn't feel much of a difference. But yeah, it was interesting because the wide body kit lost PI on the Silvia, but gained PI on this one. And I think that's just because of Silvia's poor build when it came to A class. But yeah, quite interesting with that. And once again, Dodge, good old Dodge with their back end, regardless of the 355s on the rear for this vehicle, 765 horsepower will still make the tires spin quite a lot in this car. And, well, it's not quite as difficult to drive as the normal one without the wide body kit. You could slightly see that this one had a little bit less traction problems, but I think that might have been just because I got the hang of the vehicle that little bit more. And certainly, this test was a lot more, I would say, accurate, a little bit more representative than the Silvia test. And that is proven in the results. Without a wide body, this SRT Hellcat did a 156.751. Pretty good time. Like many seconds faster than the Silvia. 10 seconds faster. Anyway, however, the wide body kit went 155.049. It went over 1.7 seconds faster than the non-wide body kit. Which means the wide body kit is actually faster on vehicles that can function properly around the Horizon Hot Wheels circuit. Which is interesting, because if you have a balanced build with power and handling, Or if you can just have some decent performance around these loops and banked curves that go into the sky and hills and jumps and boosty pads and rings of fire. If you have a car that can manage all that without being slow, the wide body kit is exponentially faster, which is interesting, because on tarmac, on the mainland, it's slower to have the wide body kit. But on the snow, and apparently on the plastic track, it is faster. So areas with less grip, you'd want the wide body kit because it gives you more grip, like I said with the snow. But even with slightly less grip, it's better to have the body kit's tire sizes than the front aero of the non-wide body kit. So that was interesting on how that played out. But that is it for this episode of Forza Horizon 3. I'll be back with more.